All right, so chapter 4.3, we're going to talk about rotations. And I'm going to use a regular pen today rather than a Sharpie, just so I can be a little bit more accurate. And I hope you can see it okay. If you can't, let me know and we'll get you a little closer or whatever we need to do. So let's just think about a rotation for a minute. Let me just draw a point. Okay, if I just have a point, I can't do a rotation. It's kind of like reflecting something. We can't just reflect a point. What else do we need? Yeah, we need a line of reflect. We need a line to reflect it across, don't we? Well, when we do rotations, it's similar. We don't need a line of rotation, but we do need a point of rotation. We need a point to rotate it about, okay? So let's just start with this. Here's my point. Let's say my point of rotation is also right in that exact same spot. So this is the point of rotation. This is also the point I'm going to rotate. Okay, I'm going to rotate it. Ready? I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. Ready? Did it. Didn't I? Did I? Okay, I'm going to rotate it 1080 degrees. Boom, done. Did I? Okay, so if you, that's important because, well, you'll see why here in a minute. Now let's say I have the point here and my point of rotation is over here. Okay, now I want to rotate it a little bit. You can see that the point is actually going to move around a little bit, isn't it? So as I do the rotation, hey, do you need to get on that or anything? Or? Oh, okay. So there you go. We just need to be able to rotate it some number of degrees. Let's talk about how we're going to do that. So here's my point. Let me put this more in the middle of the paper here. Here's my point of rotation, and I want to rotate it 45 degrees. Now, you notice I connected them, didn't I? I didn't talk about that before, but I'm going to have to connect them in order to measure an angle so that I can actually rotate it some number of degrees. So I hope that you all have a compass of some type. You don't have to have one of these, but these are good. Okay, so we're going to do just a rotation. Let's rotate it 45 degrees, I think I said. So what I do is I just put my compass on here. Got to go to the glasses on this. I put my compass on here like this, and I measure 45 degrees. Now it says 135 right there. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you can't read that. But I'm starting on the inside, so I'm going from 0 this way up to 45 degrees. Okay? And so I know that P prime is going to be somewhere out along that line right there. But where is it? Is it just anywhere along this line? Yeah. So RP and RP prime have to be congruent, don't they? Well, that's easy enough. We can take our compass, if we have all the parts to it, and we can actually kind of see, oh, look, right here. If we put P prime right there, then we've rotated 45 degrees. Now, did anything about that rotation bother anybody?
No.
When I rotated it, did anybody think, ooh?
No.
Y'all, nothing weird about it?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll just keep going. Eventually one of you can say, Mr. Collard, why are you doing it that way? Okay, what if I have a segment? So what if I have a segment here? I'm going to call this segment PQ. How do I rotate the segment? Do I rotate the whole segment all at once? You guys are figuring it out by now. When we translate it one point at a time. When we reflected one point at a time. And when we rotate, we rotate what? One point at a time. So I've got to connect Q and R so that I can measure my 45-degree angle. And boy, it's nice to have a pencil doing this, because then you can erase some of the stuff you've already done. But very carefully, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to mark 45 degrees. And then I'm going to draw a nice light line coming out through here. And then I just got to figure out where point PQ is, or RQ prime, excuse me. So I'll just find that, right? So we come over here. So right here is going to be Q prime. So if I connect P prime and Q prime, okay, now I've rotated the segment. What if it's a triangle? So I've got this triangle now. PQ, I can't use R. We'll just call it Z. Can I reflect the whole triangle? Sure. I'm just gonna draw my line down here so that I can get my 45-degree angle. And again, gosh, it's nice to have a pencil just off that a little bit out there someplace. And then I can come up here and I can find point Z, and I'll just come over, and I think Z prime is going to be right there. So now if I connect Z prime and Q prime and P prime, does that look correct? So we rotated 45 degrees. That seem your brain okay with that? Okay. That's how we rotate something. It's just use your compass, measure the angle, make sure you're the same distance away from the point of rotation. Now it can get a little weird. Sometimes you might have something that you're supposed to rotate. So we'll call this ABC. What if the point of rotation happened to be right there at point C? Well, where's C prime going to be? Yeah, it's going to be right there. So C prime, it doesn't move, does it? But A and B are going to rotate, aren't they? So let's say they rotated 90 degrees. You know, you can see, right? What about the point of rotation being inside, on the interior of our polygon? So there's our point of rotation now. Can we rotate it that way? Sure. So if I want to rotate, let's say I want to rotate this whole figure 90 degrees. Well, I can start with point B here. I can find my 90 degrees right there. So there's my right angle, my 90-degree angle. And then I just need to locate B prime so it's the same distance away from our point of rotation. So I'm going to say that B prime is right there. Can we do that with all 3 points? We can rotate it. It's not a big deal, is it? Everyone happy? I see heads nodding. That's fabulous. Okay. Still it's not bothering anybody how I'm rotating stuff? You're all good with this? Okay. Let's go to a coordinate plane. Think about doing translations. Were translations easier when we were just doing them on paper, or easier when we were doing them on the coordinate plane? Okay, coordinate plane. Were reflections easier just doing them on paper or on the coordinate plane? On the coordinate plane? Okay, so rotations, what do you think? Yeah, if we're doing certain degrees, like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, if you're doing angles like that, doing it on a coordinate plane can actually be kind of good, especially if the origin is your point of rotation. So I don't have to be so accurate here. Let's just start with a point. Point P. Nah, we're going to call it R. Here's our point of rotation right down here. Can I rotate that 90 degrees? Where will it be when I rotate it 90 degrees? You want to know how I do it? I can kind of look over here and oh, maybe I shouldn't have put it at 6, 6, huh? Is it going to end up in this quadrant? Well, who says the second quadrant? Who says it ends up in the fourth quadrant? Do we want to vote on that? Let's rotate this 90 degrees. Will it end up in the fourth quadrant? In the second quadrant? Okay. Okay, it depends which direction I rotate, but yeah, if I rotate it 90 degrees, it's going to end up right there, isn't it? Negative 6, 6. Just look at that. Just look at the graph like it's right side up now. Like this is now the y-axis. This is now the x-axis. That's where that point is, at negative 6, 6. And I need you to be aware that whenever we talk about a rotation, we always are talking counterclockwise unless you're specifically told to rotate something clockwise. So anytime we say rotate something 90 degrees, we mean counterclockwise. Do you know why that is?
No.
Me either. I was hoping one of you guys would know. But that's the deal. We always rotate counterclockwise. I thought you guys were going to start taking notes, but you're all packing. Stop. Pay attention. Okay? So, if I have a figure, like a segment, RS, can we rotate that thing? So can we rotate the whole figure? Can you look at that? Where's point R now? R prime, excuse me. Where's R prime going to be? Negative 6, 6. And where's S prime going to be? Negative 2, 6. If this is a whole figure, where's point T prime going to be? Can you literally just move your paper and then say, okay, now just pretend it's right side up, write down the new point, and then come back here. So if T is at negative 310, can we come over here? Negative 310. There's T prime, right? Wasn't R at negative 6, 6? So here's R prime. And where did point S end up? Negative 2, 6. Negative 2, 6. So there's S prime. So we have our rotation. What do you think? Could you do that 180 degrees? Could you do it 270 degrees? Could you do that 360 degrees? We're going to rotate this 360 degrees. Ready? Done. Ah, yeah, that's right. Head exploded. Okay, see ya.